the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. It's 6 questions in less than 9 minutes because leaders know how to be concise. Well, let's just jump right into it. First question, tell us who you are in a few sentences and what do you do?
Sure. Thank you, Sean. My name is Thomas Russo Jr. I'm currently the town manager in Newton, New Jersey, where I've served for 12 years. I'm an adjunct professor at both Seton Hall University and Pillar College. I teach courses for undergraduates and graduate students on project management, organizational communications, human resources, and leadership and management. And I recently published my first book, There Are No Politics in Heaven, and I started my own consulting firm, Russo Communications.
Fantastic. Thank you. Second question, what's the best thing about working with a team?
I would say the best thing about working with the team, Sean, is learning and growing together in a collaborative fashion. All teams are made of individuals with different skills, talents, and abilities. But if you have the proper leadership in place, I think you can harness those unique skills into a comprehensive and collaborative mosaic. And there's really no limit to what you can accomplish if you do that.
Oh, I love that. Great comment. Thank you. Question number 3. I hear from other leaders that it can be a challenge to get team members engaged. Tell me your thoughts on that.
Well, I think the thing that I've learned all these years in my various roles is that you have to understand that each individual has different motivation. So for some people, they're motivated purely by economics and money and the bottom line. Others want attention. Some want a higher level of responsibility. And then there are those that just want to know a specific task and then they want to be left alone to go do that task, right? So I think understanding the different expectations of the individuals in the team. But I think as a leader, regardless of that, you really need to set clear goals and expectations. And I think the worst thing you can do is micromanage your team. I think you need to set those goals and expectations, have clear communication. And I think you need to lead them and guide them, and then you need to let them perform their work.
Great comments. Thank you. Question number 4. What other successful team leaders, such as yourself, should be on my podcast?
Well, I teach graduate school at Seton Hall, as I mentioned. I teach a course on leadership and management of nonprofit organizations, and I would strongly recommend interviewing leaders in the government and nonprofit space because I think a lot of us, not myself, but I think a lot of people default to leadership being something you find in the private sector. Maybe, entrepreneurs like a Mark Cuban or an Elon Musk or, people like that. Like that's kind of their default image of what a leader might be. But I would argue the opposite. I think that people in government and the nonprofit space like I'm in, we have the same challenges as other leaders, but we also have additional governmental, societal, and regulatory restrictions that because we're under the microscope of the public. And I think nonprofit leaders provide exceptional service for the community, oftentimes under very adverse conditions, especially with a lot of the things we're dealing with as a society now. So I would say bring government leaders and nonprofit leaders to the table because they have a lot of valuable insight.
That's great. Thank you. Question number 5. What piece of advice would you give to other professionals who are running a team?
There's 3 things that come to mind, Sean. It's lead with humility, character, and integrity. First and foremost, because if you're someone that people can't trust, then you can't lead. I think you need to inspire your team members with clear, concise, and well thought out communication. Having staff meetings monthly so team members can learn what's going on in other departments increases knowledge, it increases morale. You need to do the fun things, whether it's parties or gatherings or just things that bring people together outside of a project or a traditional work environment. Because no matter how big or small those opportunities are, it increases collaboration and the desire to work together. And most of us will spend more time with work colleagues than we do our spouses or our children. So you really want to enjoy that time and you really want to make the best of it. So I think those are the things I would focus on.
I love that. Thank you. Well, 6th and final question. Tell us about your first job.
Sure. In high school, I was a sales clerk at a video store. It was RKO Video in Morris Plains, New Jersey. I learned obviously how to manage the cash register and be responsible for that, customer service. The team was great, a lot of fun, had great management, and I did that for several years, really through high school, and it helped pay for college, which was great. And getting free movie rentals wasn't a bad perk at the time either, so it was a lot of fun.
Well, that's great. Thank you. Well, thanks so much for being on the podcast today, Tom. How can people find you?
Well, they could check out my website, nopoliticsinheaven.com. They can also find my book, There Are No Politics in Heaven, on Amazon. And I have a strong presence on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So those would be my 3 social media platforms where people can reach out. I'd love to work with people. I love to coach and mentor. And, it's been a great opportunity to speak with you and on your podcast to talk about leadership, because I think regardless of your title, and the old adage, having a title doesn't make you a leader, and to be a leader you don't need a title. So we can all be servant leaders, and we can all support each other in the work environment and really get the best out of each other. I think that's what we should focus on.
That's great. Thank you. Well, this is Sean Richards with the Team Engagement Podcast. For more ideas, look for Blue Sky Business Consulting on LinkedIn.